Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. This is believe it or not, the stunning conclusion to my coverage of the Purge movies. I I did a show yesterday on the first Purge, uh, which is the fourth movie in the series. I did the show yesterday and had not gotten a chance to really upload it. So, but it's all done. Just gotta get some of the technical things done, and then we'll put it up. So, and then today's show is going to be on the very last movie of this amazing franchise, the Forever Purge. So, yeah, very excited. I like doing these shows where I pick a franchise, especially franchise that I really love, and try to work through it, picking out all the movies in that franchise. It's pretty rare to find a movie franchise or franchise that is just delivers the goods throughout. Where each movie is good or as solid or consistent. It's pretty rare to find that. I think one there's two franchises in particular that I can think of right now that are pretty much a mess. I think in my book, and that is the Alien franchise. I really love obviously the first two films. They are they're masterpieces, and also I feel like one that's even worse than that. And there's getting back to the Alien franchise. There's a whole slew of movies that have come out in that franchise, including Prometheus and Covenant, and they're all just kind of hot messes. But the and I think it's especially rough. And again, these are just my opinions, but it's especially rough for the Terminator franchise. The first one being a masterpiece with Schwarzenegger, but the rest of those movies are just so bad, and I just feel like they get so sanitized. The other day, I saw on Facebook somebody was talking about the Terminator, the original, and how great that is, and I was like, "Yep, that it's a masterpiece." I bought that a couple of years ago on Blu-ray, and it's one of my favorite Blu-ray movies. I have a really good edition of that, and it's so killer. But it's one of my favorite movies of Schwarzenegger's career. Probably, I'd have to say Predator is my favorite, but it's just amazing. And so, but you're talking in terms of like for example with the Terminator franchise, there's I don't know, 8 movies, multiple movies, and I think they're all really pretty much unwatchable. And so it's franchises that really work and that can sell a brand or that can be consistent and to a degree obviously capitalize on success that some of those movies have brought, previous movies have brought, but also trying to keep a thread of authenticity, keeping it fun, hopefully giving the fans or the viewers something a little bit new. Giving them a level. It's a fine balance of giving something that's a level of familiarity, but then also giving you something new. And sometimes when you have a filmmaker in a franchise that will like legitimately take a chance, that can be a really cool thing. Um, but it's super rare. My favorite franchise, like I've said many times of all time, is the Friday 13th franchise. To me, that is, obviously they get more. They almost tend to get more low budget as you go. It's really strange, but I think that they are. I think each movie is super awesome, super entertaining, and there are favorites in the list. of that franchise. There are certain films that really stand out for me. They do get campier. They do get a little bit more silly. Kane Hodder, who plays Jason, I'm not a huge Kane Hodder fan, but I think he does a really great job in some of the movies. But for me, which is today's show, The Purge um, franchise, I just think that it's such a rare exception, even in comparison to say Friday the 13th, which is my favorite franchise. Where I don't think it happens, in regards to Friday the 13th, I don't think necessarily each movie gets better and better. Like, I think they're consistent. I think there are a few movies in the franchise that are definitely my favorite, or my favorites, and certain films have gotten, to a degree, better with age. But the rare thing, when it comes to the Purge movies, which is my favorite kind of modern day franchise, it is such. I kind of think it's, I don't know, in a league of its own, and I think because it's the only franchise I can really think of where each movie legitimately gets better than the previous one. Really great, really great, and I don't know how they were able to, pull that off, because you feel like, I would feel that that is, especially riding on the heels or coming after a really, really well done movie. Like, what do you do? Where do you go? How much farther can you take it? How much more exciting can you make the story or the movie? When I think of, like, when the first Purge movie came out, which was, just so good, and at the time, and I think even now, very, you know ahead of its time, very new, very fresh, some really cool ideas. How do you process, where to go from there? And but then in this case with Purge franchise, where they're able to actually make each movie better than the previous one, very very interesting. And the Forever Purge is the was technically the last film that's come out in the franchise. I'm not sure if they're going to put out any more. This The Forever Purge came out in 2021, so it's still really new. So it's been a couple of years. There's always been, between each movie, there's five total, but between each Purge movie, there's always been, a couple of years or so. Not long gaps of time. And the scenario of the Forever Purge is basically, it takes the premise of what the government does, the whole concept of our founding fathers, in order to this crazy idea that passes legislation and is accepted by the public. This completely dystopian nightmare of where, in order to bring the crime rate down, they the government passes this law of where, well, or suspends once a year all laws for 24 hours, where basically anybody and anyone can go out and rape, kill, murder, do whatever they want over this case of over the scenario of 24 hours. And the insane reasoning or rationality behind that is to purge yourself of all of your beastly or your dark thoughts. That's if you have this anger or hatred towards someone, like, you want to get back at the boss that fired you, or a friend, who your girlfriend who cheated on you, or your friend who slept with your wife, or you know people who are, you feel that in society are just an inconvenience and they just get in your way. All of those dark things that happen in the human psyche, as far as our general emotions, or how we, our empathy towards situations or lack thereof, it is a way of purging and getting all of these things out. And with that, the crime rate throughout these movies and the story, the actual crime rate in everyday life drops significantly. So they look at this as being a deterrent when it's actually just so inconceivable how something like this could happen and how horrific it is. This movie, the final one, which I think it would be awesome if they kept making them because again they're all so awesome, and they do get better. The Forever Purge is basically the scenario of where it gets to the point of where literally all hell breaks loose, and this notion of where it's only going to come once a year changes, and it becomes a thing of where it's going to be a permanent fixture where there will be just chaos in the streets, and people will just, the any kind of apparatus of safety has like completely eroded, um, because it's already ushered in this crazy idea, this crazy notion that this could actually happen, and that opens up the floodgates. So in this film, it's portrayed of where there is no bracket of time where this only happens. It is the scenario of where now it's just wanton violence everywhere, and it's a great film. It's a really interesting movie because this movie does deal again. Purge movies do such a wonderful job on taking on social hot button issues or just social problems that we're having, things that are really, I feel like these films are really about like the the economic warfare that goes on, political corruption, class warfare, um, and it deals with all of those really, just tough social scenarios that we live in as a society. And it really does such a great job with like taking a mirror and holding it up to society. And it does cause you to think because there are certain aspects of these films that I feel are directly from our reality. It's kind of frightening, and I think if, to a degree, because there are aspects of these films that are so close to reality, it can make it a little bit more scary. A true life boogeyman as opposed to the shape from Michael Myers, or the shape known as Michael Myers. True horror is truly horrific, and so I think this film has is kind of grounded in reality. It gives you a certain levity, so it can be to a degree extra more frightening than something that is purely fantasy based, obviously. But I think this film does such a wonderful job with like talking and raising the issues around a lot of these social issues that we go through. Police corruption, racism, class warfare. Um, even like the military-industrial complex, the policies on immigration. It's pretty amazing. This film, The Forever Purge, really does. I remember it does tackle the idea of immigration. During the Trump administration, with this whole kind of insane thing of building a wall. This film does such a great job with talking about those issues on how they're just so unquestionably insane that they're actually these are actually looked at as to a degree rational solutions to a problem. So, but the thing that's so great about these movies is that they do not ever come across as preachy, or you never get the sense of you kind of have to agree with this view on if the film talks about immigration or police violence or racism. It never crosses that line where it's telling the viewer well, you have to believe this because this is how it is, or if you agree with this, political or socio-political view, you will automatically like this film because it becomes this like preaching to the choir. It doesn't do that. It talks about political things from a very apolitical stance, I think, which is, I think, interesting. And the thing is, like, I consider myself pretty progressive and very much in step with a lot of these horrible concerns that we go through in our society or that we face. But it does not take a political stance, and that's what I love about it. If it did, it would turn me off, even though I agree with that political thought or thoughts, or that mindset. It's so great at doing that. And the other thing on the other side of things, which is most important, is it's just they're just so fucking entertaining. They're just really great horror movies. They're very suspenseful. There's tons of action in these films. Really great gore. A lot of the times they're very violent, and they have um, such a great entertainment value. They're just really great films, and I think the Purge films strike like a perfect balance, the perfect chord of dealing with very complex issues, but yet still keeping the movie and the whole delivery of the movie super entertaining and really great. I can't really think of any other movies that really do that, especially in the horror world. Like, and then even more so, especially in like the franchise state. So just an amazing movie, and the Forever Purge is really great. I saw this really recently again. Again, it's really fresh. It pays homage to the previous movies, but it's really fresh. The other thing about all of these movies, including this one, The Forever Purge, is it. And again, this came out in 2021, so it's pretty new. The other thing that is just splendid about this movie is it gives you something new. It gives you something new and exciting. It always gives you something you haven't really seen before. And of course, as most people know, or people who know me personally, know that one of my favorite little odd hobbies is collecting masks. I use masks, well, in my band Quantum, and I'm always been fascinated with masks, and I collect masks as a strange little hobby. And this film is all about that aesthetic. So, in that, just in that regard, I'm totally fucking sold. So, awesome franchise. This is the last movie in this entire franchise. They're all just really, really great. The action in the Forever Purge is pretty spectacular. I'm totally into the idea of them, you know, um, making more. And the only thing that I'm kind of pissed off at myself is that I don't own uh, more of these movies on Blu-ray. I need to do that. I need to take care of that because they're so awesome. So this is Jason Dean. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.